Welcome, focused learners. So today we're diving straight into decoding some incredibly common American idioms, and we're going to do it by walking right through a totally relatable family dialogue. We've even got the Arabic translations up on screen for you. This is all about mastering that real, unfiltered English that native speakers actually use every single day. So let's just jump right in. All right, let me ask you something. Have you ever just completely blown a major test? Seriously, we have all been there, right? That absolute sinking feeling in your stomach when you realize things definitely did not go as planned. And that brings us right to the premise of our story today. We're looking at a high school student. His name is Ted. And Ted is having a very, very bad day. We're going to listen in on the conversation he has with his parents the second he gets home. Poor Ted. Just look at this situation. He is standing right in front of his chemistry teacher, looking utterly confused, literally scratching his head while a beaker just spills out of his hand. And his teacher? Thoroughly unamused. But you know what? This moment of pure academic disaster creates the absolute perfect context for the powerful expressions we're about to learn together. So the story opens when Ted's mom, Susan, asks him how his day at school actually went. And his immediate confession anchors our very first idiom right in its natural conversational home. Ted just flat out says, "Bad. I had a chemistry test and I blew it."
Okay, so let's break this down. To blow something. It essentially means to spoil or totally botch an opportunity. The source material gives us some fantastic examples to really make this stick. Imagine a woman named Brenda. She gets super nervous and just completely ruins her big job interview. She blew it. Or take Randy. He finally managed to score a date with the most popular girl in his class. And now, his friends are just crossing their fingers hoping he doesn't blow it. It's a super versatile phrase we use anytime a golden opportunity goes to waste. Now, Susan doesn't exactly offer Ted a shoulder to cry on. Instead, she delivers this really swift, sharp diagnosis of his academic problem, telling him, maybe if you didn't cut class so often, you'd do better. Let's just hit pause on our narrative for a second to really examine her word choice here. To cut class simply means to skip school without a valid excuse. The source text nails this idiom by pointing out that Ted often cuts class to go spend more time with his girlfriend. And honestly, it's just common sense. If you keep cutting French class, or in Ted's case, chemistry, you are absolutely going to fail. It's a deliberate choice to be absent, and man, it comes with consequences. Right on cue, in walks Ted's dad, Bob, jumping into the conversation to back up his wife. And he delivers this really strong, punchy sentence that actually crams in two contrasting idioms. He looks right at Ted and says, "That's right, son. Stop slacking off and start hitting the books." And this is just a brilliant illustration of two completely opposite behaviors. On one hand, we've got slacking off, which means to just waste time or be lazy. The source gives a great example of Amanda, who gets practically nothing done at the office because she's too busy, you guessed it, slacking off. On the flip side, we have hitting the books. This is such a vivid, energetic way of saying start studying. Think of Ted partying it up all weekend until finally Sunday night rolls around and he realizes it's time to hit the books. Okay, so Ted is really feeling the heat now, and naturally we get some defensive pushback. He starts making excuses for his failure, telling his parents, "But I can't stand chemistry class. Besides, it's a lost cause. That class is way over my head." I love this, because he is naturally dropping two more fantastic idioms right in the middle of complaining. Notice how both of these work as, well, let's call them idioms of defeat. A lost cause is something that's just completely hopeless. The source references a woman named Cindy who spent 5 whole years studying Russian before finally accepting it was a lost cause. She just wasn't going to learn it. Then we have the phrase over one's head, meaning something is completely beyond your ability to understand. The text compares this to trying to read a super complex scientific article on cloning written by and for actual scientists. For ordinary people, that information goes totally over their heads. Well, Ted's parents are definitely not buying his excuses. Susan shoots back with a very strict, grounded response that keeps the dramatic tension of this family argument totally alive. She simply looks at him and says, "You need to buckle down." To buckle down. This one is so common. It means to start working seriously, to really focus. To emphasize exactly what it takes to succeed, the source text shares this awesome example of a sports team that's just been playing terribly. The coach pulls them together and says if they actually want to win their tournament, they need to buckle down. It's all about tightening your focus and just getting to work.
But hey, Ted is a teenager, and teenagers absolutely love to argue, right? He tries to brush it off by making an excuse about his future. He essentially tells his parents that when he's a famous musician, nobody is going to care if he knows about atoms. He actually says he doesn't give a hoot about molecules. And if you don't give a hoot, you just don't care at all. But as you can probably guess, his parents are about to deliver a massive reality check.
Susan brings in the real stakes here. She completely ignores the rock star fantasy and reminds Ted of what his actual, real-life future goals are. She says, "We know you have your heart set on going to New York University." The absolute crucial piece of this is the idiom to have one's heart set on. This is such a powerful expression of desire. It means you really, deeply, desperately want something. Our source uses this great example of a highly ambitious student who wanted nothing more than to go to an Ivy League school, asking, "Did you really have your heart set on going to Harvard?" When your heart is set on something, it becomes your absolute main motivation. And that leads us right into the ultimate reality check from his dad, Bob, which really closes the loop on this whole family argument. He shuts it down by telling Ted, "And you don't stand a chance of getting in there with such poor grades." Let's break down this very last idiom. To stand a chance simply means to have some possibility of success. Now, Bob is using it in a negative here, to say Ted has zero possibility, no chance at all, of getting into NYU if he keeps failing chemistry. The source text applies this beautifully to the sports world too, giving an example of an underdog high school soccer team that's going up against this vastly superior opponent. You'd say, "I'm afraid we don't stand a chance against them."
So what's the big takeaway from this explainer? Well, we've seen how native speakers seamlessly weave idioms like blow it, cut class, and lost cause right into their everyday frustrations and motivations. Now it's entirely up to you. Are you going to take this vocabulary, apply it to your own language journey, and really buckle down to master these expressions? Or are you just going to slack off and let the opportunity pass you by? The choice is absolutely yours. Keep hitting those books, and you'll definitely stand a chance at sounding like a native speaker.